Important political figure Ibrahim Traore has recently been the target of multiple attempts on his life, which has caused him to increase military spending and strengthen his security. With the assistance of Russian President Vladimir Putin, Traoré has implemented a number of security measures to protect himself and his government. In an attempt to tackle the pervasive sense of fear in the country, President Traoré has recently procured some of the world's most cutting-edge military hardware. Million-dollar purchases like this have been made feasible by the combined efforts of Burkina Faso's populace and the prudent handling of state funds. We will discuss the nature of these incidents as well as Traoré's initiatives to boost military spending and tighten security in today's video. We will also provide some details as to how much the Burkina Faso government spent on buying military hardware. Before we go any further, though, please make sure you subscribe to this channel for more informative videos like this one. Since taking over, Ibrahim Traoré has grown in popularity both domestically and abroad. Several attempts on his life serve as a stark reminder of the challenges he faces as the head of Burkina Faso. Near the president, gunfire were heard during the most recent attempt. At a roundabout in the center of Ouagadougou, demonstrators gathered and pledged to support President Ibrahim Traoré's administration. The demonstrators said that gunfire had been heard near the presidential mansion earlier in the day. Traoré has made the decision, with Putin's assistance, to strengthen security and boost military spending in response to these attempts on his life. Be aware that Traoré has chosen to bolster security in Burkina Faso for a number of other reasons. Since Traoré has no interest in doing business with the US or France, it makes sense that he would stick with stronger allies in order to advance his nation. His Western peers have also denounced him, to the extent that he was forced to halt coverage of a Human Rights Watch report on the nation's armed forces' wholesale murder of civilians by the BBC and Voice of America radio stations. Human Rights Watch said that the army had executed over 223 individuals, 56 of whom were kids, in locations where there were claims of involvement with militants. The story was heavily covered by international media outlets, including the Associated Press. The Western media has also spread false information, claiming that he has eliminated his rivals and silenced his opponents. Be aware that despite several attempts at reconciliation, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger said on January 27, 2024, that they would be leaving the Economic Community of West African States. Because everyone thinks Traoré is the one pulling these threads behind everyone's back, all eyes are on Traoré. The biggest issues Traoré would have, though, might be from his coalition with Iran, Turkey, and Russia. These recent developments have not gone down well with the United States or France. The military leaders of Burkina Faso got a new shipment of military drones in May as part of Turkey's support in the fight against terrorism. While local press sources stated that the Burkinabe army had received at least 2 Akinci model drones and 3 Type-2 model drones, the Ouagadougou president announced this in a note. About 12 combat drones, built by Turkish company Baykar Technologies, which provides the army with military and aeronautical technologies, were included in the shipment. The drones were of the Akinci and Type-2 varieties. However, Martaba Fakihi, Iran's ambassador to Burkina Faso, spoke with the African nation's foreign minister about expanding cooperation in the areas of business, science, culture, and technology. The growth of bilateral commercial and economic connections was discussed by the two parties, along with the African nation's participation in Iran Expo 2024. The foreign minister of Burkina Faso has noted that trade and economic ties between Ouagadougou and Tehran are growing. It was resolved during the meeting that the foreign ministries of the two countries should mandate the competent agencies to monitor the documents signed at the first Joint Economic, Scientific, Cultural, and Technological Commission. Traoré is not skipping any steps. After lecturing older, power-hungry African presidents who are Western puppets that they have plunged Africa into abject poverty and despair, Traoré has angered other African leaders. Without a doubt, opponents who were keen to see Ibrahim Traoré gone have drawn to him because he is honest and wants the best for both his country and Africa. Burkina Faso, which translates to Land of Incorruptible People, is led by Traoré, an honest and uncorruptible guy. After multiple attempts on his life, Vladimir, Ibrahim Traoré's friend and ally, has made the decision to take up the task of improving the charismatic leader's security before he is eliminated, like Thomas Sankara. Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, declared that his nation would deploy additional military instructors to Burkina Faso during a visit this month. He said that more Russian instructors would be employed in Burkina Faso. He added that they were providing training to Burkina Faso's law enforcement and military personnel in the Russian Federation. Lavrov made these remarks in Ouagadougou, the country's capital. Russian Deputy Defense Minister Yevkurov accompanied Lavrov on the visit. According to Traoré, bolstering security is the top priority in light of a deadly internal struggle that is still going on. According to the Norwegian Refugee Council, the number of violent deaths in Burkina Faso increased by over 50% in the preceding year. As of now, in 2024, hundreds have died as a result of attacks. In March alone, almost 170 people died in 3 villages, and in February, over 30 people died in 2 different attacks on churches and mosques. For the second year in a row, the violent country of Burkina Faso has been named the world's most neglected refugee crisis by the Norwegian Refugee Council. According to the relief organization, in 2024, there would be more than 2 million internal displacements and 6.3 million people in the country in need of humanitarian aid. U.S. officials have been warning for years about China's and Russia's attempts to gain more influence in Africa. The former chief of U.S. Africa Command, Gen Thomas Walthauser, asserted in 2019 that mercenaries and weaponry sales were being used by Russia to get access to natural resources in Africa. Since its invasion of Ukraine, Russia has been cut off from most of the world, but it appears that it is starting to resume diplomatic efforts on the continent. Early in March of this year, Africa Command again warned Congress that Russia was aggressively seeking to expand its influence throughout Africa and that a number of countries were at the tipping point of doing so. Remember that Burkina Faso's military authorities purchased military hardware for about $1 billion, more than 600 billion CFA francs, in 2023. Abubakar Nakanabo, the Minister of Economy, made this claim in an interview. At the start of this month, the Defense and Security Forces received a substantial amount of military and logistical equipment from Captain Ibrahim Traore, the head of Burkina Faso's armed forces and interim president. Weapons, ammunition, and military engineering tools, such as transport trucks, armed wagons, and excavators were among the supplies. Because our surroundings are predatory, we must wage war in order to achieve peace. Let us therefore proceed to war, said Traoré, who is also the armed forces chief of staff. It should be noted that Russia restored its embassy in Burkina Faso last year. It had been closed since September 19, 1992. Although supporting military governments in Africa doesn't really increase Russia's power over time, it does help to frighten other nations such as the US, France, and some of the Sahel's neighbors. Traoré's efforts to strengthen ties with many countries have proven to be a significant advancement in Burkina Faso's socioeconomic growth. Because of these partnerships, there are now more chances for global cooperation and understanding in the areas of trade, investment, and cultural exchange. By establishing strong diplomatic ties and establishing itself as a prominent player in the international arena, Burkina Faso has boosted its influence and capacity for growth. As it expands its network of international ties, the nation is well positioned to benefit from increased cooperation, paving the way for a prosperous future. By working to build bridges and forge meaningful ties, Burkina Faso is demonstrating its dedication to development and global participation. Regarding Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore has audacious plans. His dream is to see Burkina Faso united, rich, and stable, with every person able to reach their full potential. Additionally, he is devoted to firmly opposing the terrorism and instability that have afflicted some Burkina Faso districts. In order to do this, he advocates for a comprehensive security strategy that includes strengthening intelligence capabilities and regional cooperation. Through his investments in infrastructure, industry, education, and agriculture, Captain Traoré hopes to accelerate Burkina Faso's economic growth. His goals are to raise living standards, lessen poverty, and generate jobs. Traoré is the embodiment of Burkina Faso's future potential. Hopefully, his bold vision and steadfast dedication to his nation will steer Burkina Faso toward a more affluent, secure, and cohesive future. Trade and economic links can only benefit Burkina Faso, Russia, Iran, and Turkey. Increase opportunities for investments, job growth, technology transfer, and economic diversification could be the outcome. Additionally, it can foster the growth of diplomatic ties, cultural exchanges, and people-to-people interactions, all of which will strengthen mutual respect and understanding between the two nations. Even if there are bumps in the road, these nations need to face them with a cooperative mentality and a shared objective of mutual benefit. Through consistent communication, collaboration, and information exchange, Russia and Burkina Faso will forge a solid foundation for a fruitful and enduring economic alliance. Traoré's actions demonstrate his commitment to maintaining his own security and that of his nation. He sends a clear message to his adversaries that trying to harm him will not go unpunished by bolstering security. The growing military budget is evidence of his commitment to fortifying the nation's defense, ensuring the safety of his constituents, and preserving the stability of his government. The choice to ask Putin for assistance has sparked discussion and questioned perceptions because of the controversial nature of the Russian president. However, Traoré understands the need of coalitions in a world where peril can be found anywhere. He likes Putin's assistance and knowledge because he understands that fighting common enemies often requires international cooperation. Do you think Ibrahim Traoré would persevere through hardship and be prepared to fiercely protect his country and himself? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. Please subscribe and like this video. Do not forget to turn on notifications as well for more informative videos like this one.